One small kiss can reveal more about attraction than 100 compliments. Most men rush to the obvious, but the men women remember understand the emotional meaning behind physical connection. If you miss this, you may be turning attraction into discomfort without even realizing it. One of the biggest misunderstandings people have about attraction is believing that it begins with physical touch. Many assume that chemistry is created by bold moves, quick compliments, or rushing into moments of intimacy. In reality, attraction starts much earlier than that. It begins the moment another person feels emotionally comfortable around you. Before someone enjoys being physically close to you, they first need to enjoy being emotionally close to you. Human beings naturally seek environments where they feel safe, respected, and understood. That sense of emotional safety lowers defenses and allows genuine attraction to grow naturally instead of being forced. When someone feels judged, pressured, or uncertain about your intentions, they instinctively become guarded, regardless of how attractive you may appear. Physical appearance may capture attention for a few moments, but emotional security is what keeps someone's attention over time. This is why some people with average looks effortlessly attract others, while people with exceptional looks often struggle to build meaningful relationships. Their ability to make others feel relaxed, accepted, and valued creates an invisible form of attraction that cannot be copied through appearance alone. Emotional safety is created through consistency, patience, and genuine interest. It is reflected in the way you listen instead of waiting for your turn to speak. It is shown when you respect someone's opinions, even if they differ from your own. It grows when your words and actions align, making you predictable in the best possible way. People become attracted to those they feel they can trust, because trust removes uncertainty. When someone knows they do not have to constantly question your motives or wonder whether you respect their boundaries, they begin to relax around you. That relaxation is incredibly powerful because attraction flourishes in an environment where anxiety disappears. Confidence is not about making another person nervous or overwhelmed. True confidence makes people feel calm. It reassures rather than intimidates. The strongest individuals rarely need to prove themselves because their presence naturally communicates stability, and stability is deeply attractive. Many people unknowingly sabotage attraction by focusing too much on creating excitement while completely ignoring emotional comfort. They think every conversation has to be impressive, every interaction has to be flirtatious, and every meeting has to lead somewhere physical. But when every moment feels like an attempt to achieve something, the interaction begins to feel transactional instead of authentic. Genuine attraction cannot grow where someone feels like they are being evaluated or pressured. Emotional safety allows people to reveal their true personalities without fear of criticism or rejection. It creates space for honesty, laughter, vulnerability, and meaningful conversation. Those moments often become far more memorable than grand romantic gestures because they make people feel accepted exactly as they are. The most attractive individuals are not necessarily the loudest or the boldest. They are often the ones who make others feel comfortable enough to be themselves. Another important aspect of emotional safety is respecting boundaries without seeing them as obstacles. Every individual has different comfort levels, different life experiences, and different emotional needs. Someone who genuinely understands attraction recognizes that boundaries are not challenges to overcome, but expressions of personal comfort that deserve respect. When you acknowledge those boundaries without frustration or resentment, you communicate emotional maturity. That maturity creates trust because it shows that your interest is based on mutual respect rather than selfish desire. Ironically, people often become more open and comfortable around those who never make them feel pressured because they know their choices will always be respected. This creates a stronger emotional foundation than any attempt to accelerate intimacy through persistence or persuasion. Emotional safety also means paying attention to the emotional atmosphere instead of focusing only on your own goals. It means noticing whether the other person seems relaxed, engaged, and genuinely happy in your company. Attraction is not built by chasing the perfect line or memorizing techniques. It is built by understanding human emotions and responding to them with empathy, patience, and authenticity. When someone consistently feels heard, respected, appreciated, and emotionally secure around you, physical closeness becomes a natural extension of that connection rather than something that feels rushed or expected. One of the most common mistakes people make when attraction begins to develop is believing that every romantic interaction has to move quickly toward physical intimacy. They convince themselves that if they wait too long, the opportunity will disappear, or that making a bold move is the only way to prove confidence. This misunderstanding causes many promising connections to lose their natural rhythm. Genuine attraction is never about rushing from one stage to the next. It is about allowing curiosity, excitement, and emotional connection to build over time. The first kiss should never feel like a surprise that catches someone off guard or a moment driven by pressure. Instead, it should feel like the natural result of two people who have already developed trust, comfort, and mutual interest. When anticipation is allowed to grow, the emotional impact of that first kiss becomes far more meaningful because both people are emotionally present rather than simply reacting to the moment. Anticipation is one of the most powerful elements of attraction because it engages the imagination. Human emotions are often intensified by what is expected rather than what happens immediately. Think about the excitement before an important event, the moments before opening a meaningful gift, or the feeling before meeting someone you genuinely care about. Those moments are powerful because anticipation creates emotional investment. Relationships work in much the same way. When two people enjoy spending time together, share meaningful conversations, exchange genuine smiles, and slowly become more comfortable in each other's presence, every interaction adds another layer of emotional connection. That gradual build-up makes physical affection feel exciting instead of forced. The first kiss then becomes a reflection of everything that has already been communicated emotionally rather than an attempt to create attraction where very little exists. Pressure, on the other hand, has the opposite effect. The moment someone feels they are expected to respond physically before they are emotionally ready, attraction begins to fade. Pressure creates tension, uncertainty, and self-consciousness. Instead of enjoying the interaction, the other person begins evaluating whether they feel safe, respected, or understood. This mental shift interrupts the natural flow of connection because emotional comfort is replaced with caution. Even subtle forms of pressure, such as repeatedly moving closer despite signs of hesitation, insisting on physical affection too soon, or treating a kiss as something that must happen before the date ends, can completely change how someone experiences the moment. Attraction cannot flourish in an environment where someone feels they have to protect their personal boundaries rather than simply enjoy another person's company. Patience is often mistaken for hesitation, but the two are entirely different. Hesitation comes from fear, while patience comes from confidence. A confident person does not rush because they understand that meaningful attraction cannot be forced by timing alone. They recognize that emotional readiness matters far more than following imagined rules about when a first kiss should happen. Every connection develops at its own pace because every individual brings different experiences, expectations, and comfort levels into a relationship. Some people become emotionally open very quickly, while others need more time to feel secure. Respecting that natural pace demonstrates emotional intelligence because it places the other person's comfort above the desire to achieve a particular milestone. Body language often communicates far more than words during moments of growing attraction. Genuine anticipation can be observed through prolonged eye contact, relaxed smiles, shared laughter, comfortable silence, subtle physical closeness, and mutual engagement in conversation. These signals develop naturally when two people genuinely enjoy each other's company. Someone who understands emotional connection pays attention to these signs instead of relying on rehearsed techniques or rigid dating advice. They realize that attraction is a conversation taking place through emotions, expressions, and shared experiences rather than through scripted actions. When both people are equally invested in the moment, physical affection becomes a mutual expression of that connection instead of a calculated move designed to provoke a response. The most memorable first kisses are rarely remembered because they happened quickly. They are remembered because they arrived at exactly the right moment, when both people already felt emotionally connected, comfortable, and excited to share that experience. That emotional foundation transforms a simple physical gesture into something meaningful because it represents trust, mutual interest, and genuine affection rather than impatience or expectation. The strongest romantic connections are built by people who understand that anticipation is not something to eliminate, but something to value, allowing every stage of the relationship to unfold with authenticity, emotional awareness, and respect for the pace that feels right for both individuals. Many people grow up believing that confidence is loud, bold, and impossible to ignore. They imagine that the most confident person is always the one who speaks the most, takes the biggest risks, or makes the first move without hesitation. While those behaviors may sometimes appear confident on the surface, they do not always reflect genuine inner security. Real confidence is much quieter than most people expect. It is revealed through patience, emotional stability, and the ability to remain composed without constantly seeking validation. A truly confident person does not feel the need to rush conversations, force attraction, or prove their worth through dramatic actions. They understand that meaningful relationships cannot be accelerated simply because they want immediate results. Instead, they trust the natural process of getting to know someone and allow genuine connection to develop without unnecessary pressure. That calm approach communicates strength because it shows that their sense of self does not depend on instant approval or quick success. Patience is one of the clearest signs of emotional maturity because it demonstrates the ability to prioritize long-term connection over short-term gratification. Many people become impatient when they like someone because excitement makes them want certainty. They want immediate reassurance that their feelings are returned, immediate physical closeness, and immediate clarity about the future of the relationship. While those desires are understandable, acting on every impulse often creates unnecessary pressure. Confidence allows someone to tolerate uncertainty without becoming anxious or controlling. Instead of trying to force answers, they remain present in the moment, allowing trust and attraction to unfold naturally. This ability to stay emotionally balanced, even when outcomes are unknown, creates a sense of security that others naturally appreciate. People often feel more comfortable around someone who is emotionally steady because that consistency reduces unnecessary stress and creates an atmosphere of calm rather than unpredictability. Self-control is equally important because attraction often tests emotional discipline. Strong emotions can encourage impulsive decisions, exaggerated declarations, or physical advances that are driven more by excitement than by mutual readiness. Someone with genuine confidence recognizes these emotions without allowing them to dictate every action. They understand that feeling attracted to someone does not automatically justify acting on every desire immediately. Emotional intelligence involves recognizing the difference between what feels exciting in the moment and what actually strengthens a relationship over time. Exercising restraint does not make someone less passionate. Instead, it demonstrates respect for both the other person's comfort and the quality of the connection itself. Self-control allows emotions to be expressed in thoughtful ways that deepen trust rather than creating discomfort or confusion. Many people mistakenly believe that patience means showing less interest or playing emotional games. In reality, patience has nothing to do with pretending not to care. It is about caring enough to let the relationship develop at a pace that feels comfortable for both people. Emotional games are rooted in insecurity because they rely on manipulation to create attention. Genuine patience is rooted in confidence because it relies on authenticity instead of strategy. A confident person does not disappear simply to seem mysterious, nor do they overwhelm someone with constant attention to seek reassurance. They communicate honestly, remain consistent, and trust that mutual interest will become clear through shared experiences rather than calculated behavior. This authenticity creates stronger emotional foundations because it allows both people to feel secure instead of constantly questioning each other's intentions. Confidence also becomes visible during moments of disagreement or misunderstanding. Relationships naturally involve differences in opinion, expectations, and communication styles. Someone lacking self-control may react impulsively, become defensive, or allow frustration to dominate the conversation. A confident individual approaches these situations differently. They listen before responding, remain respectful even when emotions become intense, and avoid making decisions purely out of anger or disappointment. This emotional stability communicates reliability because it shows that difficult moments will be handled with maturity rather than emotional volatility. People naturally feel safer around those who can regulate their emotions because they know disagreements are less likely to become personal attacks or unnecessary conflicts. Perhaps the greatest display of confidence is the willingness to respect another person's pace without feeling personally rejected. Not every moment of hesitation means someone lacks interest, and not every delay is a reflection of your worth. Confident people understand that every individual carries different experiences, boundaries, and emotional needs into a relationship. Instead of interpreting patience as failure, they recognize it as an opportunity to strengthen trust and deepen understanding. They value emotional connection more than immediate gratification and understand that relationships built on mutual comfort, consistent respect, and thoughtful self-control are far more likely to create lasting attraction than those driven by impatience, insecurity, or the constant need to prove themselves. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with attraction is that they spend more time memorizing techniques than learning how to understand another human being. They watch endless videos, read countless articles, and search for the perfect words to say, believing that attraction can be created through a carefully rehearsed formula. While communication skills certainly matter, genuine connection is never built through scripts alone. Every person is different. Every interaction is unique, and every relationship develops according to its own rhythm. What creates comfort with one individual may create discomfort with another. This is why emotionally intelligent people focus less on following predetermined rules and more on paying attention to the emotional signals being communicated throughout the interaction. Attraction is not a performance where one person delivers perfectly rehearsed lines. It is a continuous exchange of emotions, expressions, reactions, and unspoken messages. The ability to recognize those subtle signals is far more valuable than memorizing techniques that ignore the individuality of the person standing in front of you. Body language often communicates emotions long before words are spoken. A genuine smile, relaxed posture, comfortable eye contact, and natural laughter usually indicate that someone feels at ease. On the other hand, crossed arms, frequent glances toward the exit, leaning away, short responses, or obvious nervousness may suggest discomfort or a desire for more personal space. None of these signals should ever be interpreted in isolation because human behavior is influenced by personality, mood, and circumstances. However, when several signs consistently point toward comfort or discomfort, emotionally aware people notice them instead of becoming completely focused on their own objectives. They understand that successful communication depends as much on observation as it does on speaking. The most attractive individuals are often exceptional listeners, not only because they hear words carefully, but because they pay attention to everything that words cannot express. Many people make the mistake of becoming so focused on making the next move that they stop observing how the other person is actually responding. They become determined to impress, flirt, or create romantic tension, while completely overlooking whether the interaction is being enjoyed equally. Genuine attraction requires mutual participation. It cannot exist if only one person is emotionally invested while the other feels uncertain or uncomfortable. Emotional intelligence means constantly asking yourself whether the other person appears relaxed, engaged, and genuinely happy to continue the interaction. This awareness prevents conversations from becoming one-sided and allows trust to develop naturally. Someone who feels understood is far more likely to continue opening up than someone who feels ignored in favor of a predetermined strategy. Comfort is not created through perfect words, but through consistent emotional awareness. Sometimes the most meaningful gesture is not saying something impressive, but recognizing when someone needs more time to speak, when they seem overwhelmed, or when they simply want the conversation to slow down. Silence itself can become a powerful form of communication when both people feel comfortable enough not to fill every moment with unnecessary conversation. Those pauses often reveal whether two people genuinely enjoy each other's presence or whether they rely entirely on constant stimulation to maintain interest. Emotionally mature individuals understand that comfort grows when someone feels accepted rather than managed. They allow conversations to unfold naturally without trying to control every outcome. Body language also reflects trust as it develops over time. As emotional comfort increases, people often become more expressive without consciously realizing it. Their posture relaxes, their facial expressions become more genuine, their laughter becomes more frequent, and their movements appear more natural. These changes cannot be forced because they are the result of emotional security rather than conscious effort. Someone who constantly watches for opportunities to impress may completely miss these gradual shifts because their attention remains focused on themselves instead of the emotional atmosphere between both people. Reading body language requires patience, observation, and empathy rather than assumptions. It involves understanding that attraction is not measured by isolated gestures, but by the overall pattern of emotional comfort shared throughout the interaction. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that confidence means ignoring hesitation. In reality, emotional maturity means recognizing hesitation and responding to it with respect rather than persistence. If someone seems uncertain, distracted, or uncomfortable, the appropriate response is not to increase pressure, but to create more space for comfort to return naturally. Respecting emotional signals communicates far more confidence than trying to override them. It shows that your interest is based on mutual connection rather than personal achievement. People naturally feel safer around those who consistently respect both spoken and unspoken boundaries because they know their feelings matter just as much as the other person's desires. The strongest relationships are rarely built by people who have memorized the most techniques. They are built by individuals who genuinely care about understanding another person's emotions, reactions, and comfort throughout every stage of the relationship. Attraction deepens when someone feels seen rather than analyzed, heard rather than managed, and appreciated rather than pressured. Emotional awareness transforms ordinary conversations into meaningful experiences because it replaces performance with authenticity, allowing trust, comfort, and genuine chemistry to develop naturally through mutual understanding rather than rehearsed behavior. Many people believe that physical affection is what creates emotional closeness, but in healthy and lasting relationships, the opposite is usually true. Emotional connection is what gives physical affection its meaning. A hug, a kiss, holding hands, or even a simple touch on the shoulder can feel completely different depending on the emotional bond that already exists between two people. The same physical gesture can feel comforting, exciting, romantic, or completely meaningless based on the level of trust and understanding that has been built beforehand. This is why two people can share the exact same experience and walk away with entirely different feelings. One person may remember it as a beautiful moment of genuine connection, while the other may remember it as awkward or emotionally empty. The difference is not found in the action itself, but in the emotional foundation supporting it. Physical affection without emotional connection often feels temporary because it lacks the deeper sense of security and understanding that people naturally crave. Emotional connection develops gradually through shared experiences, honest conversations, mutual respect, and consistent behavior over time. It cannot be manufactured overnight or replaced with impressive gestures. Every meaningful conversation, every moment of genuine listening, every act of kindness, and every display of empathy contributes to building trust between two individuals. As trust grows, people naturally begin lowering the emotional walls they normally use to protect themselves. They become more willing to express their thoughts, share personal experiences, admit fears, and reveal parts of themselves they would not normally show to strangers. This vulnerability creates a unique bond because it allows two people to know each other beyond appearances, achievements, or first impressions. When physical affection eventually becomes part of that relationship, it reflects everything that has already been communicated emotionally. It becomes a symbol of trust rather than simply an act of attraction. One of the reasons emotional connection is so powerful is because every human being wants to feel understood. People do not simply want someone who finds them attractive. They want someone who appreciates their personality, respects their opinions, notices their emotions, and values their presence beyond physical appearance. Feeling understood creates emotional safety, and emotional safety allows affection to feel natural instead of uncertain. When someone believes they are accepted for who they truly are, physical closeness becomes an extension of that acceptance. Without emotional understanding, physical affection can sometimes leave people feeling even more disconnected because it highlights the absence of genuine intimacy. This explains why many relationships that begin with intense physical chemistry struggle to maintain long-term satisfaction if emotional connection never develops alongside it. Meaningful affection also requires presence. In today's fast-paced world, many interactions are distracted by phones, social media, work responsibilities, and constant mental noise. Yet emotional connection grows strongest when people give each other their full attention. Maintaining eye contact during conversations, remembering small details, asking thoughtful questions, and genuinely caring about another person's experiences all communicate something powerful. They say, "You matter to me." Those simple actions often strengthen attraction more than dramatic romantic gestures because they create a sense of importance and emotional significance. Physical affection becomes much more meaningful when it follows moments where someone has already felt deeply seen, heard, and appreciated. Another important aspect of emotional connection is consistency. Trust is not built through occasional acts of kindness, but through reliable patterns of behavior. Someone who is respectful one day and emotionally distant the next creates uncertainty, making it difficult for genuine intimacy to develop. Consistency reassures people that they know what to expect from you. It demonstrates emotional stability, reliability, and sincerity. These qualities make affection feel safe because they eliminate the fear of unpredictable behavior. When someone consistently treats another person with kindness, honesty, and respect, every affectionate gesture carries greater emotional weight because it reflects an ongoing pattern rather than a temporary emotional high. Emotional connection also allows physical affection to become a form of communication rather than simply physical contact. A warm embrace after a difficult day, a reassuring hand held during moments of uncertainty, or a gentle kiss shared after meaningful conversation often expresses emotions that words cannot fully capture. These gestures communicate comfort, appreciation, encouragement, and love in ways that feel deeply personal because they emerge from an already established emotional bond. They are not attempts to create closeness, but natural expressions of the closeness that already exists. This distinction changes the entire experience because affection no longer feels like something that needs to prove attraction. Instead, it quietly reflects trust, understanding, mutual respect, and emotional intimacy that has been patiently built through countless moments of genuine connection. One of the greatest misconceptions about attraction is the belief that persistence alone will eventually win someone's affection. Many people are taught that if they continue chasing, continue persuading, or continue proving themselves, the other person will eventually change their mind. While determination has value in many areas of life, relationships operate very differently. Genuine attraction cannot be negotiated, pressured, or earned through relentless pursuit. It grows naturally when both people feel respected, emotionally safe, and free to make their own choices. This is why genuine respect is one of the most attractive qualities a person can possess. Respect communicates confidence because it shows that you value another person's feelings as much as your own desires. It demonstrates emotional maturity by recognizing that every individual deserves the freedom to move at a pace that feels comfortable for them. Aggressive pursuit, on the other hand, often creates emotional distance because it places personal wants above mutual understanding and comfort. Respect begins with recognizing that another person's boundaries are not obstacles standing in your way. They are expressions of personal values, emotional readiness, and individual comfort. Every person enters relationships carrying different experiences, expectations, and emotional histories. Some people become comfortable quickly, while others need more time to build trust. Emotionally mature individuals understand that these differences are natural and should never be treated as problems to solve. Instead of becoming frustrated when someone asks for more time or expresses hesitation, they respond with patience and understanding. That response immediately communicates security because it shows that their interest is based on genuine care rather than selfish urgency. People naturally feel more relaxed around someone who respects their boundaries because they know they will not be judged, manipulated, or pressured into decisions they are not ready to make. Aggressive pursuit often comes from insecurity rather than confidence. Someone who constantly seeks reassurance through repeated messages, excessive attention, or relentless attempts to impress may believe they are demonstrating passion, but their behavior often reflects fear of rejection instead of emotional strength. True confidence does not require constant proof. It allows space for another person to think, feel, and respond naturally without trying to control every outcome. This emotional independence is deeply attractive because it removes unnecessary pressure from the relationship. Instead of feeling responsible for managing another person's emotions, both individuals are free to enjoy getting to know each other in a healthy and balanced way. Confidence quietly says, I value this connection, but I also respect your freedom to choose. That mindset creates far stronger foundations than any strategy built on persistence alone. Respect is also demonstrated through the way someone communicates. Emotionally mature people listen carefully before responding. They avoid interrupting, dismissing opinions, or trying to dominate every conversation. They show genuine curiosity about another person's thoughts, experiences, and emotions because they recognize that understanding someone is far more valuable than simply being understood themselves. This balanced communication creates emotional equality within the relationship. Both people feel heard, appreciated, and valued, making attraction stronger because the connection is based on mutual respect rather than competition for attention. People are naturally drawn toward individuals who make them feel important without expecting constant validation in return. Another important aspect of respect is accepting that attraction cannot be forced or guaranteed. Not every connection will develop into a romantic relationship, regardless of effort or intention. Emotionally secure individuals understand this reality without allowing rejection to define their self-worth. They recognize that compatibility depends on countless factors beyond physical appearance or personal qualities. Respecting another person's decision, even when it is disappointing, demonstrates remarkable emotional strength. It shows that your character remains consistent regardless of the outcome. This ability to handle disappointment with grace often leaves a far stronger impression than any attempt to argue, persuade, or change someone's mind. Emotional maturity is revealed not only by how people behave when things go well, but also by how they respond when life does not unfold according to their expectations.